Go. Thing says go. We're live. How are you?
All right. Doing good. Thanks, Jason.
I appreciate you joining me.
Yeah.
Today, we're going to deep dive into a silent revenue killer. Is that the first thing you thought of when you thought about content inefficiencies? Revenue killer?
Very dangerous stuff here.
Some of that marketing fluff I like to come up with. But yeah, you know, I bumped into that that article I think you shared with you, Journal of Hospitality and Tourism Research,
Yeah.
that found that the language used in property titles actually would determine room rates,
Yeah.
and it got me to thinking. You know, um, content has always been such a issue in our world. In the CRS world, and um, every hotel depends on descriptions and images and messages across all these channels, and done poorly, um, you can lose bookings and you'd be too dependent on OTAs, not a balanced strategy like we like to promote. Can frustrate guests and, you know, frustrate hotel teams for that matter. And, I was wondering, well, surely AI could fix this problem, right? It's fixing every other problem. So,
It's a huge
um,
problem.
yeah.
AI.
I mean, so how can hotels, I was thinking, how can hotels, eliminate this content efficiency that we have seen for so long over the years. And so jumping right into it, we talk a lot about AI and automation and hospitality, but one area that gets overlooked is content management.
Yeah.
So what's happening inside hotels today, can you tell us, that's making content such a costly problem?
Sure. Sure. I think it's probably good to kind of start with like describing what's the scope of work here with regard to content management, right? How big a task is this? So let's take like a single mid-sized property, right? That would have probably around 8 to 10 room types, probably the same number of rate codes or plans kind of available at any given time. So some of those are corporate plans, some of those are property specific, promotions. And then each room type and rate requires content. And if you get down to brass tacks, we're talking about a name, description, policies, amenities, images. I mean, it's building up here, right? And then rate codes change. Like every couple weeks, hotels come up with new promotions. Someone has to come up with something different. Every season, there are different rate plans, rate codes being generated every month. I mean, it's a constant churn here, right? And so
Yeah.
people have to keep editing all this content. And then there are the channels, right? We being the CRS, we see all these channels, multitude of channels here, and this, the OTAs, all the OTAs, the GDSs, and the hotel's own website and booking engine, right? So, and each channel has their own like content restrictions, right? Like character limits, layouts, content fields that need to be filled in. And if you look at each channel specifically, hotels regard them as different kind of audiences, right? Different target segments. And really, the right way is to write your content specific to that channel. So there's a lot of work here, right? So this is just one hotel.
Yeah.
What if you have a chain, right? What if you have, our clients have 10, 15 hotels, 40 hotels, 50 hotels, 80 hotels? I mean, this is huge. This is a large amount of work. And I'm just talking about the CRS, right? I haven't even talked about CRM, right? Email. I haven't talked about group reservations platforms or other departments like F&B and various outlets, hotel outlets and restaurants. I mean, they have their own channels of distribution, and their own content issues. So this is massive, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's just scope of work. Like, if you talk to hoteliers and kind of ask them how they do the content management specifically, you're going to hear a lot about manual processes here, right? Entering, updating, optimizing descriptions, and you're going to hear how people kind of share like legacy content, maybe through spreadsheets, Word documents, or emails, and then just copying and pasting. I mean, the staff, they don't have time. They really can't think. They have to keep going. So they're copying and pasting left and right, and this is prone to errors and inconsistencies and inefficiencies, right? So And then you have all these channels to update, and sometimes a few get neglected, and that's lost bookings, right? So, and then there's languages. So you're here in Texas. I mean, we got English and Spanish.
Yeah.
Hawaii, you've got English and Japanese. And there's Europe. Like, wow,
Yeah.
like a whole bunch of languages. And hotels lack multi-language capabilities. So inevitably, the content that comes out that's translated is kind of poor. So international travelers kind of tend towards places where they can find better written, better translated content in their own language. And unfortunately, that's the OTAs.
Yeah.
So if you consider the scope of work and the time needed to manage content, this is an expensive problem.
Yeah. Let's talk about that a little bit. Like, what is the business impact?
Yeah. Um, well, in the end, it becomes lower conversions, especially through direct channels. I mean, that's really the game here. So, um, like, if I, as a guest, don't find your room type descriptions or rate code descriptions compelling, I'll hesitate to book. So
Mm.
I'll choose a competitor. I'll go somewhere else. I work in user experience and application design, so I need to know the guest journey pretty well here. So I, as a guest, when I'm ready to make a reservation, I have I've gone through the shopping process. I've kind of dreamed about where I want to go, what I want to do. So I have this experience in mind. And so I want and when it comes to the hotel, making that reservation, I'm going to be spending quite a bit of my budget on this hotel. It's quite expensive. So I want confidence that I'm making a good decision here. So if the content appeals to me and it's aligned to what I have in mind and my needs, then okay, I feel confident about this. I'm going to go ahead with this reservation. If I don't have that confidence and the hotel's website or booking engine or something is kind of written poorly or in a way that kind of that doesn't appeal to me, I'm going to go somewhere else. I'm going to go to an OTA, um, and they're the ones who have teams of people to update content, and their content's pretty slick. So that's kind of
Mhm.
a business problem here too. Is this increased reliance on OTAs? So that's a problem that we're trying to fix. Guests want accurate, well optimized listings, and the OTAs have that. Um, Another huge business impact here is really inefficiency spent in like a lot of time wasted. Um, we have these horror stories of hotel staff spending weeks, updating content manually, right? I mean, they're not like writing content for weeks at a time here, but there is this manual process where someone has to write something, and then a manager, director, GM, or even owners, they'll want to approve it before it's published, right? So, and if it's not written correctly, well, guess what? You got to do it over again, right? So there's this cycle. It's kind of tedious. So and staff gets embroiled in this, and they don't want to do this. They'd rather be focusing on the guest experience, on delivering hospitality, or something else that actually generates revenue, right? So employees are frustrated, especially the younger staff. These people, they expect something that's more intuitive, and they don't like working with these outdated legacy systems or manual processes, and they don't want to do this the rest of their life. So they're going to leave, and so there's higher turnover there. So those are just some problems that we're seeing.
Yeah. Um, what kind of example can you give us of how to deal with it? How do you deal with this massive? Oh my god, without hiring a bunch of people? I mean, that's
Well,
where AI comes in, right?
that's where AI comes in, right? AI, it's kind of like, well, when it comes to content generation, I think AI has really mastered this, right? It's compelling, and so we're kind of jumping on that and taking advantage of that for our hotel clients. So uh, we have an AI assistant that's within our CRS and CRM, and it automates content creation, optimization, and distribution of that content across all these channels and systems. So hoteliers don't have to do this manually. Um, the AI assistant generates optimized descriptions instantly, kind of based on room type, amenity, even guest intent. That's actually something we're working on, where the CRM might tell us, what segment a guest might belong to after they've kind of logged in, for example, and then we want to generate content specific to that segment. So it's quite interesting. And then multi-language translations. I mean, that can be done in a single click. These are pretty smooth, and what we're doing is we're rewriting content from one language to another. That's all we're doing here, and we're preserving the tone and style so that it's consistent across all these different channels. We have native Spanish and Chinese speakers on our staff. They see these translations and they say, "Wow, this is pretty smooth. This is pretty good." So it's convincing. So, and having these good translations reduces guest dependence on OTAs. They kind of actually expect this translated text on the hotel's websites and booking engines. So we need to give it to them. Um, our AI assistant also helps with regard to adaptive content formatting. So we recognize that there are different kind of channels or devices that guests use. So mobile, voice search, booking engines. Our assistant ensures that the content is delivering the right message in the right way in the right channel. And finally, our AI assistant is super easy here. So it's a very low learning curve. I mean, new hires can just jump in and just use the thing and um, get the job done and move on. So yeah, I think AI is a great solution here.
The so if you don't have an AI solution and but maybe you'll work towards one or whatever. I mean, any kind of to-dos for hoteliers, auditing or optimization, anything like that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you have to kind of understand what are your current content workflows, right? Do an audit of all this stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of get your calendars out. Usually it's a marketing calendar or promotions calendar, and list out all these rates and room types that you have out there, and then all the different copy that's needed for each one, right? And then identify the names, descriptions, the different fields that have to be written, and then figure out where you have to update these fields. Is it in the CRS? Is it in the CRM? Or you probably have to log into an OTA extranet to update these fields. But you want to have a really strong picture of what the content workflow is and what the scope of work is really, is really all about. And then you have to get into those channels. So um, every channel, maybe it's whether it's mobile, voice search, website, or booking engine, they have certain content optimization requirements. You have to figure that out. The GDSs, wow, there's lots of limitations, GDS, just to make a hotel show up effectively. It's so limited. So you got to be really careful with that. And then the OTAs, each one's a little different. Each one has different layout, a different way of showing the hotel. So you have to understand what are your optimization requirements for each of your channels. And then there are brand standards, right? So every hotel group, every chain, every hotel company has the preferred way that they want let's say their hotel name to be used in these descriptions, or how they describe their room types or rate codes. What value propositions do these portray? What's the selling proposition here? The brand standards are very specific about this, so you got to have that right, and kind of know what it is before you start looking for an AI solution here. So and finally, languages, right? So what are the languages that you have to translate your content in? So once you have this understanding of all of your content workflows and all of your content restrictions on each channel, then it's time to evaluate, okay, what AI solution fits? What works for me and my staff? What can I use to kind of get them away from manually creating or updating content? Um, what I would suggest is, which is kind of more prevalent, is find something right within the context of where the editing happens. Because you want to kind of get in there, make it happen, and get out of there quickly. So, like, our AI assistant is embedded right in the CRS and CRM, so you can generate content, translate it, see what it looks like, and then press a button, and it's there. So, and if you want to change it, you can. You want to edit that, and so it's very fluid, and you don't have to jump out of the application to something else, copy and paste it in. So that's where it gets cumbersome and it's prone to errors. So anyway, it's kind of exciting stuff. So and content generation is the low hanging fruit here. This is the easy stuff, right? And especially when it comes to distribution. And this is just the beginning. We're pursuing all kinds of AI solutions for booking engines, call center applications, personalization, predictions, reporting. I mean, it's pretty exciting stuff. So,
Yeah, I
uh,
mean, well, it's another one of those mundane, big pain in the ass problems we've been dealing with for years. Then why couldn't AI fix it? So,
yeah,
this is great. I appreciate you spending some time with me and kind of laying it out for us.
sure, sure.
Hopefully,
Thanks for
this helps the hoteliers understand what is possible and make their life a little better and earn a little more money.
That's right. Save some time.
Save some time, saving time and money. That's what it's all about. All right, sir. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks, Jason.